All right, everyone. Thank y'all for joining us. LinkedIn has got a hell of a lag tonight. That is crazy. So this is so I did a thing, and like I say every week, I'm pretty stoked about this guest. This is, and I forgot to ask him how to pronounce his last name, whether it's Gilbeer or Gilbert. But my guest is Robb Gilbert. I'll let him correct me whenever he gets out here. Um, he's a coach, he's an author, he's a former DJ. I asked him if he had anything planned for us to put some music out or whatever, but he didn't bring anything. But I'm going to bring Robb out. What is up, Robb?
What's up, Chris? Thanks for bringing me out.
Yeah, man. So look, how do you pronounce your last name?
You know what the funny thing is about my last name? That's not my last name. That's a name that I changed a few years ago to be kind of like my nom de plume, my my stage name, if you will.
Okay.
And the way it's written is closely to how my proper name is phonetically said. My legal name is Gilbert, but if you saw that, you'd say Gilbert. But my last name is actually French.
Gilbert.
Gilbert, yes.
I got you. Okay, well, that's pretty cool. I like that. Right on.
I was just laughing before you brought me on because the platform we're using to stream, I've used it before, but they've updated the language now. In the bottom corner, there's this warning. It says clearly, the host can see you. You may be brought on anytime. Yeah. Be ready with
be ready.
Yeah. Be ready.
Exactly. Yeah. The host can see you, but nobody else can.
That's right. That's right.
Well, cool, man. How you been? You got some exciting stuff going on, dude.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of momentum right now. So yeah, I decided in the summer that I was finally going to write a book.
Okay.
And at the time, it was one of the goals for the year, but I was thinking about it, and then I had someone say, "Well, just take one of your courses and just make it into a book. It's easy peasy done." But it didn't feel right. It felt like it would be kind of, I don't know, it felt kind of cheating, or it didn't feel like I was really going to be providing much value or anything to anyone. I was like, this feels crap. But then I got the idea that some of the things that I share online, some of the stories, some of my misadventures, some of my screw-ups, my near-death experiences, like that stuff resonates with people, and that stuff, like people message me and thank me, and realize that I could do a collection of stories from all my crazy adventures. And then from the moment I realized that and made that decision, then I went all out with it and had the first draft done in 43 days.
Wow.
It's done now. It's going to be out next month. But I'm still, working with, like 15 clients on the side. I've got a cohort. I've got all this other stuff going on. I've got like a full business while I manage to sneak in the book.
Yeah. So you wrote the first draft of the book in 43 days while still working.
Yes. The difference is, thankfully, that I work for myself and I make my own hours per se. And there's normally at least one day a week where I don't schedule calls, where I already have a creative day. Where before book, it would meant like I would be creating content. I'd maybe be shooting videos for YouTube. I would be working on this stuff. Hey, what's up, Philip?
What's up, man?
So having the control over my schedule allowed me to reconfigure it. And the other huge thing I did is I'm lucky enough. I've got a couple of people that help me. I've got a project manager. I've got a coordinator that helps me and does like an assistant. And I took a week where I booked myself in a hotel. And I did some calls on a Sunday. I did a couple calls Monday morning. And then I had stuff like pushed way out in the week. And almost the entire week was me ignoring the family, ignoring laundry, ignoring dishes, ignoring away from all distractions in a hotel. And I wrote the bulk of it that week.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. That's pretty cool. Didn't you did a post about that, didn't you? Like you were like, this is what I'm doing right now. See y'all in a week or something like that.
Yeah. Well, just because, look, the internet is amazing, and the fact that even that you and I are chatting, the fact that we're connected is because of LinkedIn, because of the magic of social media. Like it's so good. In the last week, I've gotten 2 gifts mailed to me from 2 different countries. Someone mailed me a tumbler from Texas because I was on their live stream, and someone else mailed me some navy blue masks because that's my wardrobe color that I wear all the time, from Taiwan. And these are people that I met online. So like the fact that you and I are talking, these people send me gifts, it's where I get all my client magic. I love it to death, but also it can be death by 1,000 notifications if you're constantly checking, constantly refreshing. You can't get any focus work done. Nothing of great value gets created if you're constantly being interrupted by notifications.
Right. Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. And I say that all the time. Like a lot of people bitch and moan about LinkedIn and, the censorship or what, just the variety of everything, and that's all true. I don't post anything controversial, not because I'm not. I'm not scared to speak my mind, but I like this place. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to go away. So I just choose to keep my mouth shut on shit that's going to get me banned. You know what I mean? Or could get me banned.
Yes, fully. I fully agree. Yeah, there was someone's thread today. It might have been Kirsten's post, or someone was talking about. Maybe it was Mindy. I don't remember, but someone was talking about how great. Maybe it could have been Chelsea's post. Good God, one of those people. I think it was. I think what I think is one of their posts, and the other two people were in the conversation. I think
Well,
that's what it was.
yeah, and they're all like kind of like friends anyway. And
They're all friends, right?
brunettes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but the gist of it is how great LinkedIn is compared to those other places. And if you like the comments on YouTube, the comments on Facebook, the comments on TikTok can be toxic, and people are assholes if there's this anonymity where by and large on LinkedIn, people are supportive, people are friendly, people are helpful.
And if you do get a troll, and even if you got one per post, that's still far less than what you get anywhere else.
Really, so few. And I'm older than most people realize. I turned 44 this year, and I've been doing the online thing for a while. I used to be on MySpace, and I got business when I was doing record labels, and I got remixes and bookings and stuff through MySpace. I was on Facebook fairly early. I've connected with people on Instagram. Like I've played in these other places, and I've seen the vitriol. Like there's a video, the first video on my YouTube channel did really well, has 60,000 views. It's me telling some crazy story. The comments are a mix of like supportive and then like prickish comments. And then there's another video of me that went viral on someone else's channel of me DJing somewhere. And that one, it's like 50-50. It's people like, yeah, he was totally right. Or other people like, no, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, right.
But like thousands of comments, right? And it's just people feel anonymous. They don't care. They don't realize that there's a human on the other end of that gets a notification. Like I got one yesterday and someone's like, I don't get the big deal of this. And they wrote this whole paragraph of like why they think pretty much my video is stupid. But it's like they're writing it as if thinking that there's no way that I would ever read it. But I get a notification.
Yeah.
And I get it in my inbox. And I'm reading it right as you wrote it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I literally got an email. It says so commented.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I agree with you that LinkedIn is better and different. And yeah, you don't want to get kicked off because it's a great place.
Yeah, I love hanging out here, man. So tell us what is your book about? Or can you tell us that yet? Like,
yeah, I can tell you that.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like G14 classified because it's not out yet. Or
No, I can share that. So the book is called 𝙏𝙗𝙞 𝙇𝙗𝙑. And the subtitle is, I've been tweaking it, so I want to make sure that I get it correctly before I say the wrong thing. Die Before They Do, From Selling Drugs to Lunch with Jim Carrey. Stories of struggle, near-death experiences, and creating a life with meaning. So it's a collection of stories from my life and all the insane things that because I grew up in an army base. I got in trouble with the police. I used to go to illegal raves. I've been through, I've changed careers 2 times, and there's been more than one occasion where I've almost died. I was hospitalized once because of something that almost killed me. So it's a collection of all these adventures and misadventures, just to show people that you can create a life with meaning. You can intentionally be the creator of your life. Your past doesn't need to dictate where you go in the future. And yeah, you can really be the creator of where you go and what you do.
Yeah, that's a topic very near and dear to my heart. We were talking about that backstage, just with the whole prison thing. And shameless plug real quick, at 7 p.m. Central Time, I'll be live with Nathan and DJ Durante doing an End of the Stigma show. Haven't done one in a few months. So we'll be talking about that very thing. It's just your past is your past. And, it doesn't matter. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody messes up.
Yeah,
what you do with it,
where do you go? What do you learn from it? Yeah, do you evolve? And I think that's a really great example because there's on that spectrum, like, going to prison. I sold drugs for a bit in high school, and that's something that's in the book, right? Like, luckily I didn't get arrested for that, but I did get arrested for something else, and that's also in the book. But it's either like those things, they define you and you let them define you forever, or you decide that that I'm going to use this as a turning point. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to grow from this. And it doesn't even need to be that extreme. Sometimes it's just everyone in your town does this. No one in your family's ever gone to college. people like you do this. Like there's just all this
Mm-hmm.
indoctrinated BS that we start believing because our aunt says it, our teacher said it to us, we see it all the time in our bubble, and then we think
Mm-hmm.
that this is our limit of what we can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But because that was one of the options for me. I remember growing up and realizing like, all right, so everyone here is either joining the army like our parents, hoping to get a job at the factory in the neighboring town, or doing illegal activity and selling drugs or doing B&Es and other stuff. Like those
Mm-hmm.
were the three career paths I had. Like
Mm-hmm.
as if that's always an option.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. There is other options.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, that was your bubble. That's all you see. And that's one of the reasons, that's one of the things we talk about on Ending the Stigma is, guys get out of prison and that's all they see, because a lot of times they're going back to the same environment they were in. And if they really, really want change, then they're going to change their people, places, and things, but they've got to do it. And they've got to realize that there's more to life than the same old shit you've always done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so true. People, places, and things. I love the way you're saying that. And I know it's the same thing too, that people that work with addiction, and it's the same
Yes.
thing. And people struggle with
Mhm.
addiction, but then they go into treatment, they come back out and they go to hang out with the same people, live in the same place, hang out in the same neighborhood. And then you start the clock. It's just a countdown timer until they end up in the same spot again.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the biggest causes of recidivism. When I got out, there was people sending me messages through, because I'm not on any other social media, but there was people sending me messages through my then wife and hey, tell Chris to holler at me. Hey, here's my phone number. Tell Chris to holler at me. And I was like, no, bro. Like if I see you in Walmart or Target, then it's how you doing? But that's about all you're going to get out of me.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you have any judgment of them or any ill will towards them. It's just you're changing your path, and
exactly.
that involves changing the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah. And I actually had a conversation with one of my old running buddies. His sister got married, and his sister and my ex-wife were real good friends. So we went to the wedding, and he was there, and he was like, what's up, dude? How you been? And I'd actually seen him in public a few times and didn't speak to him. So we talked for a little bit, and I told him, I said, look, man, I'm not, like, it's nothing against y'all, nothing against you. I said, but you know how it is. Like, you never know. One, I'm still on parole, so you never know if you're doing dirt. You never know. I never know if you're being watched. So I can't risk that. But two, man, I'm done with all this. And we had a really good talk about it. And I was able to kind of open up and share what I've been doing and how I've been successful since I got out, because he's been to prison too and all that. So I don't know if it did any good, but that seed was planted. You know what I mean?
That's powerful. That's really great, because it's not just you deciding to make a change for you, but then you being able to open up with someone when you run into them in a place like a wedding and like, hey, yeah, it's not you, but I'm not about to fall back into that. And
right.
This is the decisions that need to be made. And it's like, there's another way. There's definitely another way.
Definitely another way. Exactly. Right on.
So we were talking a bit before so you're streaming here, you're streaming in a couple other platforms, you're enjoying it so much. You said, if you could just do this kind of stuff like YouTubing full time, you would. Like, you're almost talking like it's a dream kind of thing.
It is, yeah.
To the point where you were doing it at lunchtime at work, you're doing it after hours at work. And for me, that's just so damn cool, because it would be easy for someone else to say like, well, my internet's shit at home, I haven't got the time, but you are finding a way to make it work. And I just think that's really awesome. And I want to call that out.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I can't do it during work hours. My boss would shit a gold brick if he walked in here and I've got headphones on and a mic in front of me, or if he got a notification I was live at 10 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I love it. Like, it is, to me, it's just a blast to do. It's a blast to get to. It's another way to connect with the people in my network, because I use these. Like, you and I have never talked on a Zoom call or anything.
Nope.
And that's the way it is with a lot of my guests. Most of them actually it's almost just like a get to know you Zoom call with audience participation. And I absolutely love that. And then doing the Ending the Stigma side of it, where there's actually a deeper meaning and a purpose behind it too at the same time.
That's great. It just really goes to show the power of community, the power of content, because there's a sense of that I know you. Like, obviously I don't know you, but like I still come into the call. There's no weirdness because I felt
Right.
like I already have a sense of who
Right.
you are.
Right. Exactly. And I was talking to somebody, I was talking to, I don't remember who it was the other day on a text message or something. One of my connections here on LinkedIn. It might have been Holly. She's heard my voice 100 times, but like we had a Zoom call once, months and months ago, and she was like, I feel like I know you. And then I realized like we've never really talked face to face, but I see you all the time. And that's the powerful thing about lives is it lets people get to know you because
Yeah.
your personality is going to come out when you're having a conversation with someone. You know what I mean? You're going to laugh, you're going to cut up, it's going to be serious. There's the whole range of emotions and feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fully. Well, I think we're talking about the pros and
Thanks,
cons.
Loopy.
They're natural. You
Yeah,
should pursue.
yeah. Thanks, Loopy. That's Loopy.
That's good. Well, I maybe in the future there'll be a like a GoFundMe or Patreon page to get Chris to be able to go full time with it.
Yeah, right. Hey, I didn't even think about that. I made a joke one time a month ago about doing a GoFundMe for a boat, but I never thought of one of doing that so I could go full-time streaming.
It's a possibility. Well, there's
Yeah,
a lot of creators that use Patreon for that. And it's just
yeah,
your commitment is that you're going to keep creating, and then people support you at a different tier. And there's a $5 a month. It means you're just grateful. $10 a month, is it 50, 100? And you have these different tiers, and just people supporting you in your creativity. So
yeah.
it's not too wild of an idea. It's not too crazy of an idea. Yeah, and what you were saying earlier, but the lives is so true. So look, we're talking about the awesome things about online, getting to know each other.
Mhm,
One of the downsides is how over-filtered things can be. And if it's just like
mhm.
words, you can be really selective of what you write. And you can also be really selective of the picture and like the angle and all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
If it's a video, you can spend a lot of time editing it with a video, but maybe there's a bit more body language, voice tone, whatever.
Right, right.
But with a live, like unless you and I sat down and I'd given you a script and even then, even if I tried to like force a script on you, there'd still be moments where we'd be off script, right? Like it
Correct.
is even a more natural version.
Yes. And I refuse to use a script. Like I tell all my guests, or I used to, I didn't tell you, but I usually tell my guests, like I do not have a script. If I have a script, I'm going to try to follow it as best I can, and we'll probably be done in 15 minutes because I'm going to feel like I have to hit all those bullet points and then keep moving. So I would rather just let the conversation flow. If there's lags or lulls, then I'll say a bunch of times and it'll be okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as if you're chatting with real people. This
Yeah.
makes me think. So when I went through a divorce and then I started dating again, I was dating for the first time in years and years, and the dating scene had changed in the time that I've been married, and it was a lot more about online stuff,
Mhm.
and it was way more about texting than ever before. And there was someone I was chatting with, and we were texting a bunch, and it was this text volley that was going on and on and on. And we're having a full conversation, but it was just taking forever because it's over text. So I picked up the phone and I called them. They answered the phone. They chatted for a couple minutes and they said, "Hey, can we go back to text? I feel awkward. I feel like I'm on the spot now." Because behind the text, they could hide, they could decide,
Yeah.
they could pause, they
Yeah.
could really, think about their answers. But being on the spot live in a conversation, yeah, there's going to be awkward pauses. There's going to be lulls. That's what real life is.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right. You're not going to have something to say every single second you're on the phone or on a call with someone or
No,
face to face in real life.
no, and that's normal. That's okay. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. And people are afraid of silence. Silence can feel awkward for people.
Isn't it like I'm that way sometimes? But you're right. It can get awkward because then it's like, now what? And it's okay to be quiet sometimes.
Well, it's a power. If you are okay with it, then it become really powerful because I'll give you two examples. In coaching situations, a lot of people don't know how to listen. A lot of people are just waiting for their turn to talk. A lot of people
Yes.
are just really like running through the noise in their head, waiting for their moment to respond. And
Mhm.
I've gotten pretty damn good at listening. It's a thing that people say that I'm good at.
Mhm.
And with some of my clients, they're so not used to someone listening that there's a pause there. And I know that if I just like bite my tongue for another couple Mississippis, then they'll talk.
Mhm.
And there's a
Mhm.
client I'm working with right now, and they're highly successful, and they're a senior leader, and they work with senior people. And we were chatting last week and they said like, wow, I'm talking a whole lot. Like, am I rambling? I don't normally talk this much. But it's because they're not used to someone shutting the fuck up and listening.
Right.
They don't know what it's like to have someone to listen. And all of a sudden they have someone really listening and they're talking. The other thing I want to share too is years ago, I worked in a call center for a bit and we got training on how to deal with people who are frustrated and upset and people are yelling at you, whatever. And one of the best things I got told is silence. Just be quiet. If you have someone freaking out, just silence, especially because they're calling you. So it's like, if you're calling me and you're upset because we screwed something up or whatever, and you're mad and I'm trying to reason with you and you're not having it. If I go quiet, what options you got? You've called me.
Yeah.
It gets like, look, I just pause for a second. It gets awkward quick.
Yeah.
And then what happens is the person's like, hello? And then they might repeat their belligerent tirade. Right. They'll say it a little quieter. They'll say it a little aggressively.
Yes.
And then if you're still silent, are you still there? Hello? And they have no choice but to come down because you haven't responded.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of takes the wind out of their sails.
Yeah, but it's tough to do. It's so tough to do.
Because they'll keep going as long as you're arguing or trying to give an explanation or trying to make things right or whatever. They just want to vent.
Yep, they want their moment. The other, actually, there's a part in the book too where I'm talking about someone was apologizing to me and something with, bad was done and it really affected me in a super negative way. And they were apologizing to me, and there was two of them, and there was a couple natural pauses where I could have easily said, "Thank you, I appreciate it." It means whatever, and I didn't say squat. Which meant, again, they had no choice but to keep talking. And that is probably the longest apology I will ever have in this lifetime. Like, it was like an 18 or 20-minute apology. Because I was able to shut up.
Excuse me. Were they mad when they started apologizing?
They weren't mad. No, they had booked the meeting to apologize to me and didn't know how I was going to react. But it was awkward because they were influential, successful people, and they're not used to, having to go take someone out to have this kind of apology. And it felt pretty sincere, but yeah, there was definitely a couple, 3 minutes in, 4 minutes in, and again at 8 minutes where I could have been like, "Thank you, that means a lot," and I could have just relieved the pressure from them, but I didn't. I wanted them to sit in it just a little longer.
So there's also a tactical advantage to that. Like, I accept your apology, but I'm going to make it as uncomfortable for you as possible.
If anyone is watching this and then does end up reading my book, you'll fully understand. I don't want to say more than that because I don't want to give away the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a skill. It's hard to do, and like we're talking about it, society, it's not something we're used to. A lot of people don't know how to deal with it, but you can use it to make people feel understood. You can use it to regain power if someone's freaking out. And you can also use it in a tactical manner if, it's the same thing in negotiations. They always talk about say the least amount possible.
Yeah. And they say that in sales too. Like, I'm in a sales position and my boss says it all the time. He used to be in pharmaceutical sales. Is you don't show up and throw up. Say a little bit. It's okay to say a little bit. You don't have to tell them everything you know or don't know or whatever.
Yeah. And that goes back to the people feeling understood.
Yes.
Because we get this. I've seen you talk about it. I've talked about it. Almost every day, someone who we're connected with, who we love and appreciate, is bitching about the direct spammy sales crap messages that we get from people. And the problem with that is they come in and they're like, "Hey, we've got this. Hey, we're awesome because of that. Hey, buy our stuff. Us, me. I'm great. I call those me mails, right? And it's the same thing that if we're meeting in person and I'm thinking of using your services, and if we meet together and it starts with you just telling me how great you are and what you do and why it's better for me, I don't know. I don't know if you understand my situation. I don't know if you know my problem. I don't know if what you have is actually like working for me versus
Yes.
if we show up, you say a little bit, you get me talking, I explain what my challenges are, what I'm looking for, what I might need help with. I talk about my situation. And then you, not only do you then get a sense of if your stuff can actually help me, but I feel like you get me. And if I feel like you hear me, you understand me, and you get my problem, then it's a lot more likely that I feel that you're going to be able, that the solution you have is right for me, especially if I feel you understand my problem.
Yep.
Book is not out. There's no link yet. It comes out. The tentative date right now, if all goes well, is November 18th. So I can't see what that is. It just says LinkedIn user.
Yeah, Loopy Hayek.
Hey, Loopy. So yeah, if you connect with me or if you follow me, I definitely will keep you updated, and the link will be out in the coming weeks.
Yep. Cool. Talking about what you were just talking about, same thing going back to sales. Like, I'm not a great salesperson, mainly because it's not really my passion. Like, I'm not really passionate about it. And I don't make as many calls as I used to because I'm in more of a managerial, supervisory role, or however you say it. Yeah. But if I get an email or a voicemail or something to somebody that's new, I don't ever, and I have to call them back, I don't ever just say, hey, this is Chris. This is what we do. Hey, man, appreciate you calling. What do you got? What are you needing? Tell me what you're needing. Because he may not want to know about hard drive shredding. Maybe irrelevant to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to, it goes back to listening. You have to listen and be okay with not talking. Because he's going to tell you what he wants.
And then you're going to know whether what you have can help them.
Yep.
And then if you do have a solution for them, then you can match what you have to offer perfectly to the things that they've pointed out to you.
Yes.
Not only that, you're making me laugh, and I'm grabbing my phone because I got the funniest spam today, like the absolute funniest spam. So someone had posted this week about the terrible things on LinkedIn.
You're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but you're frozen. We lost him. He'll be back, I hope. This has happened on this is the third live in a row in the evenings that this has happened to, and I've had to monologue it, and I'm not great at the monologuing. Yeah, thank you, Kenny. I need to have Kenny on here and just have him drop his delectable nuggets of wisdom on us. Kenny, if you want to come on my live, I would be more than ecstatic to have you. I hope Robb's just not like sitting here talking, because that would be awkward. He left us. Maybe he'll be back. All right. So here we are. Y'all are stuck with me again. Yep. So here we go. I hate this, y'all. Like, I absolutely hate the monologue thing. I've said this the last 3 weeks. I don't know how ́𝙗𝙑 does it, but he gets on here and talks for an hour at a time all by himself. I do so much better with a guest. So yeah, y'all get to look at me scratch my beard now, because I have no idea what to say. There he is.
Did I just drop off? Did I just go?
Yeah, man, like you froze up. Like I was sitting here talking. I'm going, man, I hope you were. And I was like, I have no idea what Robb is saying, where he's at, if he's coming back. And then you dropped off, and I was like, oh, man.
And the way it froze too, I wasn't sure if it was me or you. So I waited for a second, and then I refreshed, nothing happened. I was like, oh crap, I think it might be me. So then I went back completely. I went and found it, like I went back into the link. Anyway, sorry, I don't know what the heck that was. But I was in the middle of telling you I got the absolute worst spam today, and I think it's funny because it's on point to this. So someone had posted one of those posts a few days ago being like, these kind of messages are terrible. This is an example of a terrible message. This person, I saw your comment on this person's post where they shared the do's and don'ts on LinkedIn sending connection requests. their company name streamlines the entire process in order to help outbound teams regionalize personal. Da, 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 da. So they saw me comment on one of these posts bitching about shitty inbound messages, and then they send me a shitty inbound message saying I saw your message on that post.
Like, bro, read the room, man.
Like I laughed. I was so busy today, but I'm probably going to respond to this person. Like the shit disturber in me is probably going to stir the pot here, but like this is so bad. Like you think this is what do you?
I ask them sometimes, like, you know, I'm always nice. I'm almost always nice to them at first, man. I appreciate you reaching out. I'm not interested. And if they come back with something, I'm usually like, can I ask you a question? Sure. Does this work for you? Like, how many clients are you getting from this? And then that usually ends up with the end of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I reverse pitch some of those people with that same kind of line. Like, does this work? Because I help people grow their businesses. I help them scale their businesses. But one of the things I'm quite good at is leveraging LinkedIn for my business. And Doug Lawson and I did a whole workshop and a whole program based around this. Like I understand it well, and I leverage it very successfully for my business. And I've helped tons of people do it. So sometimes when I send that, like, is this working for you message, I'll reverse pitch being like, look, this is hurting a little bit. If you want help, I could actually help you because I don't think this is the winning strategy.
Right. I'm going to start doing that. And be like, look, I know this isn't working for you, but I know a guy. I know a guy who can help you make LinkedIn work for you.
I'll give you a referral fee if you end up sending anyone my way. The other way around it too is most of those are sent through automated systems, even though LinkedIn says they don't allow automated systems, but this like cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Is I respond with a voice note, and you'll get like one of those spammy messages. I respond with a voice note, and then I'll get the follow-up message. It's just another copy and paste piece of crap, in which I know then for certain that there's just an automated system and there's not actually anyone on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to have Doug on here. Like, and I don't know, you know him better than I do. I don't really know him that well. I've seen some of his, videos and stuff. He would have a hard time doing this though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have a hard time. He can read lips a little bit, but when him and I did the online workshops, we were able to use Zoom because Zoom has added auto captioning. He uses Google Meets or what's it called now? Oh, it's called Meets now.
Hangouts.
Well, he uses that because that has the auto captioning on it.
Okay.
And that allows him. It's still a little bit weird because he wants to look at you, but then he's also trying to read the caption. And the captions can be a little bit behind.
Yeah.
But I know other people have done it with him, but I just don't know how you would be able to do it through, say, StreamYard and multi-stream everywhere without having the captions layer.
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, he's brilliant. He's a brilliant dude. I consider him a friend. Like, I love him dearly.
Yeah. I just got on LinkedIn it'd been a few months whenever y'all did that. And so I was still kind of figuring everything out. But are y'all going to do another one of those? Do you know?
I don't, not for now. It's on pause. We created into a digital product that we had available for a while too. The reality is I just had too many things on the go. I was all over the place. I had my main offering, the growth habit methodology that I'm helping with coaches scale their businesses. I run this program called Reboot once in a while for people who are at a transition point, or they want to become entrepreneurs, or they don't know where the heck they want to go with their life. Then I had this third thing with Doug that we'd created, and we created another program on the back end of that. And I was just all over the place. And actually the coach I was working with is like, hey, you want to know why you're struggling right now? Because you've got 3 different things on the go and you're talking to me about a 4th one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, which is real hilarious because one of the first things I do when I work with people is we talk about their focus and their focus of their time and their attention, because, the analogy I'll make is there's a subway station that's, I don't know, like 200 paces from here. It's super close from where my office is. And if I walked out the door and I took 2 steps in one direction and I turned around, and I took 5 steps in one direction, then I turned around, then I took 3 more steps in that direction, then I turned around, then I take 5 steps in that direction, I'm never going to get to the subway station.
Yeah.
Or if I do, it's going to take a year, and it's going to be by some weird ass, like accidental luck.
Yeah.
Versus if I this is where I want to go, and literally put 1 step in front of the other. But people do it all the time. And we were talking earlier in the show about how I made my book happen so quickly. Well, I zeroed in on that. And I was like, this is the lead horse. This is the thing that I'm spending all my additional time with. This, I'm not taking on too many extra clients right now while I make this happen. If I'm working additionally on my free time, it's on this.
Yeah.
Versus, a program with Doug, the book, my main program, this side program I have, one-on-one clients. It's too many things.
So tell us, or tell us, what is it you coach coaches? So tell us what that means.
So
how do you,
yes.
Do you do like your coach did to you? Like, look, bro, you got too many irons in the fire.
Different stuff. So that's part of it. So I'll start first by saying that I never intended on coaching coaches. If we would have spoke 3 years ago, if you were having this show 3 years ago and I was a guest and you were asking me, I would have said I'm a creativity coach. I work with creative people. I help them publish more work. I help them tap into their creativity more consistently. I just help them kind of get out of their own way. I had a recording artist, a singer, I had a photographer, like I had a writer, like more creative type people that were clients.
And that was because that was your background, the music.
Because that's my background in music. These are my people. And that was just like something that made sense. And I could leverage things that I enjoy and it made sense. But then I was posting and sharing a lot online about my habits and my morning routine and how habits had totally transformed my life and give me a new level of focus and confidence and creativity and all sorts of stuff. And people started asking like, hey, this habits stuff, help me do that. I want some of that. And then I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I thought, well, what my goal with all of this is to help people be more connected, more joyful, more happy, just, be themselves and kind of feel they're getting more out of life. Like habits have really done that for me. So when I quit because I had a high paying director level role at a company, is making 6 figures on a leadership team. Like I was checking a lot of those external boxes as far as what success looks like. When I quit that to go all in on this, I called myself a habit strategist. And then I was like, I'm a habit strategist. This is what I do. And then 11 of my first 12 clients ended up being entrepreneurs. And I didn't expect that. And I was like, why is that? I'm like, oh yeah, I've been an entrepreneur on and off my entire life. They're rebellious people that like solving problems. They like taking creative approaches to things. They don't follow the status quo. I was like, yeah, these are my people too. So then I said, I help entrepreneurs. What was my tagline at the time? Get more consistent results through habits or something like that. And I focused on entrepreneurs, and that was my deal for a bit. But then I had coaches showing up and saying, dude, how'd you do this? How'd you get so many clients? How do you get clients overseas? How do you have people coming to you? And the first couple people, I was like, I got no business coaching coaches. That's my imposter syndrome was having none of it. But then a third one showed up in a 10-day span wanting to pick my brain. And I was like, all right, the world is trying to nudge me in a direction. So then I made the final shift. And yeah, I think I saw Kenneth there post that like coaches need coaches too. Yeah. And the two areas that I really focus on with people is one is just the getting out of your own way, the mindset, the confidence, the believing that you can do it. Because someone who wants to be a coach and hasn't done it before, like that's a complete different mindset shift. There's like a belief that you can do it, that you're able to do it, whatever. Okay. But if you
and like Chelsea always says, are you qualified?
Are you qualified or not?
Exactly.
Well, that was a conversation I had with Chelsea before she launched it. We were chatting and she tells me all this stuff she wants to do. And she's like, I do all this with like all the entire state of Texas. I built all these programs. I did this. I'm thinking about doing this. I'm reinventing my entire personal life because of everything I've been. And then she's like, and I'm thinking about being a coach, but that seems really crazy. And I was like, hold on. That's the crazy part. Like, that's not the crazy part. Everything else, like, no, like you're more than qualified. And the same thing applies because I'm working with more people now who are established, have a business, but they're stuck at 10K months or they're stuck at 20K months, and they wanted to like, maintain their money but work less, or they want to make more money, they want focus, or they're not sure who their clients are. So there's always that mindset, self-belief, self-worth piece is always there. And the other thing that I am really great at and love doing is the marketing side. And I don't normally call it marketing. Marketing is a bit of a dirty name, but I love helping people figure out who the hell their clients are, to tighten up their message, to really deeply connect with the people they're meant to serve, to find ways to do sales in a way that feels authentic and genuine, ways to get their message out in a way that really speaks to their audience and makes people knock on their door so that they don't have to do sales. That stuff, I like. If I didn't have to work for money, I'm still reading those books for fun. My partner makes fun of me. I love it.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I tend to help people with.
And going back to Chelsea, like I love Chelsea to death. Like I think she's doing amazing things. And I have absolutely loved watching her shift from education to coaching and how passionate she is about it and how just as much cool content as she was putting out on education, she's putting out on mindset and coaching and all that kind of stuff. And just knowing a little bit of her past and the history she's been through and how qualified that actually makes her.
Yeah.
Like it has been, to me, it has been just so cool to watch that transformation on LinkedIn over the past 4 months or 5 months or whatever it's been.
It's been amazing. Well, those are my favorite people. And like, I probably would not take parenting advice from someone who's not a parent. I just don't think that's something that I would do.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with a 22-year-old. I used to be a 22-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do think there is a lot of validity to life experience. And someone who has been through the ringer, someone who's face planted and got back up, someone who's been to the edge and back, someone who's been in some tough places, some dark places, and someone who's come on the other side of that and realized like, oh, wow, I went on this crazy journey. I'm on the other side of it. And I think that I really want to help other people. I want to show other people there's a different way. And then they do this and like put their arm behind them. Those are my favorite kind of coaches.
Yeah.
And Chelsea's got that shit in spades. She's
I know it.
So cool. Yeah, her messaging is so tight right now. I love her content.
I know it. Like she did her sliders she did earlier today. Like those sliders kill me because they're so creative and so her. Like even the skull with the daggone ponytail, up on. Yes. Like I was like, this is just screams Chelsea, but it's so concise and to the point. And she's even, and I don't know if it was because Michael Eckstein did that post about posts that were too long. And him and Chelsea kind of went back and forth in the comments on it. But even her posts, some of her posts have gotten a little bit shorter, but still just are, like you said, they're concise and they're tight. Like it's there.
Yeah. Well, she knows who she's speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
She knows the problems she's helping them with. She has lived it personally and is still, in some senses, still living some of it.
Yeah.
So she's like, what more authority is there than that? Like there's no more authority than that. It's a really great, and I know she's making a difference in the lives of the people she's working with. So there's no better reward for me than that.
Yeah, it's got to be a cool feeling whenever your clients are doing their thing and doing it well.
It's a thing of beauty. Well, it's just as far as impact, people wanting to know you make a difference, that you're positively contributing in some way, shape, or form. So there's the people that I get to work with individually who thank me, who are grateful, who I see them go through their own journeys, changes, transformations, whatever. That's wonderful. But then knowing that there's people out there that I'm working with, and then they have their roster of clients that they're helping. And, we just talked a bunch about Chelsea. She's amazing. But I also have another client. He has a social enterprise where 25% of his revenue, not profit, of his revenue goes to a center for grieving children. He's going to donate $37,000 or $40,000 to the center this year. That is incredible. Like it's beautiful. It's so magical. So it's the impact you can have. It is. There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah. Gabe, thanks for stopping by, man. Look, I just want you to know, I'm going to shout out to Gabe real quick because I did it earlier. I don't know if you've ever watched any of Gabe's streams. He does monologue streams a lot. So you were the third person in 3 weeks that has had some kind of issues, and I had to monologue it for a few minutes. And I'm just like deer in the headlights. And I always shout Gabe out every time I have to do it. She'll go for like an hour just talking, you know what I mean? And I don't have a guest and I get stuck. And I'm like, all right, so y'all are watching me scratch my beard now.
Time to channel your inner Gabe. I've seen some of Gabe's streams before. I haven't watched one in a while. Like he'd be in the front of his truck and he's just talking from the heart. And it feels so real.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be on with me in 2 weeks. We finally got it worked out. On the 2nd at noon. It'll be another lunchtime live.
I love it. The other thing too is I just saw, just because of you having me on here, then it was part of his kind of recaps, because we're talking about how amazing LinkedIn was earlier, and we're talking about community. That Gabe's doing this really cool thing where he's doing these are all the awesome live shows today. These are all the places
every morning, man. He's doing, and that takes time to put that together. And he's doing it. I know, man. To support other content creators. Like it's not a competition on who's going to watch who's live. It's here's what people are doing. Go support them, pick somebody out, listen to them, say hi. Like that's the epitome of LinkedIn to me, is that right there.
Yeah, it's a really great shining example of that. Of just like it's a community, people helping other people out. It doesn't need to be competitive.
Yeah, this is what I was doing, literally sitting here going, well, what are we going to do now?
It's too bad that you know how when I'm in the backstage, you can watch me. I was off, so I didn't know what you were doing. And I'm gonna go back and watch our stream just to watch that awkward part.
It was great because you're going to see you're just froze looking down, like not even eye contact. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Like, oh, shit.
Love it, man. Love it. So what else is going on, dude? Like anything else you want to drop on us?
What do I want to drop on us? Here's something that has nothing to do with anything, but I think anyone who's a parent might be able to relate. Do you have kids, Chris?
I do. No, I don't.
All right. So you might not be able to relate, but I'm hoping maybe someone else on the stream can. So kids are a little older. Our eldest turns 16 soon. The baby, he's 13. And trick-or-treating is a really big deal in our house. They love Halloween, love dressing up. You know, you get to kind of be a different character. You get to go get a haul of treats. Like who doesn't love it as a kid?
Right.
They've always loved it. And I've always gone with them, and it's been a lot of fun. And then 2 years ago, our daughter had some friends over and they wanted to go do their own thing separately. So they're like, okay, it's just them. So it was just, us and our son.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, and it dawned on me like, oh crap, like this is going to expire. Like there's a finite amount of these left. And I've loved these every year. This like quality time. We get dressed up. They're always like, why are you going to dress up, Papa? And then we go with them and it's something we've looked forward to. And I had this realization like, oh crap, this is ending. Our son this year, he's having friends over. They're going to go trick or treat on their own. It's done. That phase of our lives done. Like it's like every, end is a new beginning or whatever, but it's a weird thing. And I was a little emotional about it yesterday. I was like,
I bet. Because you didn't think you probably weren't thinking last year that was it.
Yeah. I didn't realize and stop and think like this was the last one, but it was.
Yeah.
It's past. It's done. So yeah, it just, that's top of mind because sorry, I'm reaching for a charger right now because it's Halloween soon. And we were walking in the neighborhood last night and saw the really cool decorations in our neighborhood. And yeah, speaking of changes, speaking of evolutions, and you don't know what's next. You don't know what's around the corner. And something like Halloweening with the kids, trick-or-treating with the kids is just going to stop and you don't even realize it.
You don't even know it. Yeah. Maybe you should dress up and go with them and not tell them it's you.
I'm going to get dressed up anyway. My partner and I are totally going to get dressed up. We might get dressed up and go walk around the neighborhood because where we live, the houses really do. There's a couple streets near us where they're known in the city. Like these are some of the best streets in all of Toronto for trick-or-treating because like every other house does it up and it becomes like well, they've got 2 20-foot inflatable dragons. We need to have 3. Like it's just
like some National Lampoon, the Christmas Vacation kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly, but with Halloween decorations.
With Halloween, yeah.
Is there will you actually it's on a Sunday, but if it wasn't on a Sunday, would you and coworkers dress up? Will people dress up at the office for Halloween?
We never have in the past. It's not really my jam, so I probably wouldn't. I just never have. I don't know, never have liked it or whatever. But past few years, nobody's dressed up. Like they hadn't had a Halloween party or anything.
Yeah, it depends on people. It's making me, the way you're saying that is making me think when I lived in England for a bit. Lived in England for just under 2 years when I was younger, like 10, 11, 12, that kind of thing. And trick-or-treating wasn't big there. It's maybe a little bit bigger now because of American media is slowly pushing the idea there more, but it's still not really a thing. Like I still have British friends that come here and go to a big Halloween party and be like, oh shit, like people really do it up. So we lived there. And some of us kids did go trick-or-treating. And a lot of the houses, the lights are off. A couple people told us to go away. At one house, knocked on the door. Lady opens. She's yelling, "You're begging. Get out of here. You're beggars." And her son was upstairs with buckets of water, dumping buckets of water on kids.
Oh, no. That's a bitch move, man.
Yeah. And it's like some of these kids are like, they're like 5, 6, right? Like they're so little. And they've been thinking about this for weeks, planning costumes. They got all done up. And then there's some like piece of shit 15-year-old kid upstairs being like, ha, gotcha.
You wanted a trick.
Yeah, there's your trick.
Kenny, you couldn't find my house, man. I live off in the middle of nowhere, about 300 yards off the road on the back side of the property. Like, there's no trick-or-treaters coming to my house. You'd get lost, man.
Dressed up as a ghost, going rustic with my costume.
Does
I love it.
Does that mean just like a sheet with 2 holes in it? Like that kind of rustic?
It's a classic costume.
Yeah, I know, right? You can't go wrong with it.
You really can't go wrong.
No.
I hope there's someone in your life who sees this stream who shows up at your door in a couple weeks trick-or-treating. I know, really hope so.
They had done their homework then.
Like whether it's a coworker, a friend, a relative, honestly, it would be the funniest. If I get a message from you in a couple weeks being like, you won't believe what happened.
Right.
And look, and if you're thinking of doing it, you can just show up dressed up as a ghost.
Right, exactly. I'll be like, Gabe, like you drove up. And Gabe only lives like 2.5 hours from me. So if he shows up, I might shit down both legs and up my back, man.
Who said that? I can go to the Halloween party.
Loopy again.
Hey, Loopy, thank you. Yeah, and look, we were talking a bit earlier that I come from a music background, DJing background, and when I used to do DJing stuff full time, that was a huge night. Like New Year's Eve and Halloween were the 2 biggest nights. And Halloween, people really got dressed up, and I would get dressed up too. And I have a lot of wonderful memories of going to adult Halloween parties where it was a big deal, and there was a costume contest, and people went out of their way, spent months and months and months dressing up. And the other thing too is I've been lucky enough to go to Burning Man 3 times, and that's just like a week-long dress up party. Like everyone's in a costume all week, or naked, or a bit of both.
Yeah. You have, Jacob, and I appreciate that, man. I noticed that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it. Hey, what's up, Jacob?
Naked or in a costume.
Naked or in a costume. Yeah. Actually, that was the big. Speaking of I went to Burning Man 2019. Before that, the last time I went was 2010 or 11. I should really know the exact year, but like an 8-9 year gap. And that was one of the biggest differences was there was a lot less nudity now. And I don't know. And we were trying to figure out why. Like, is it a bit of a different crowd? There was less older people and a bit more younger people. I think that was part of it. Mm-hmm. And I think I don't know if you've ever been to like a gym or a community center. And I remember going to those places as a kid, and there'd be like just some old dude, like, just it's out. Like everything is, just watch out. This Gramps is just swinging it over there. Like there's just no, but now if you go to a YMCA or a gym or something, people are all like,
yeah.
It being totally different. So I don't know if that's part of it. The other thing I think might have changed is, where's my phone? These.
I have, Jacob. I've had some awesome guests lately. Yeah, that could be it. Because when folks being naked everywhere, man, folks are taking pictures of that. And you don't know where it's going to end up.
But not everyone had. No one had, or very few people had a phone with a high definition camera. The last time I went in 2010 or 2011, I think that was a really big deal. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, I love it. It's fun to smile. It's enjoyable to laugh. We've had a couple good cracks on this live.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta clean my glasses, man. I got a smudge that my light is hitting and got me all kinds of eyes watering. That's what I don't know if you saw it earlier. Gabe said that's one of the beautiful things about. That's why he likes live streams. Is there's no editing. 100% authentic. Like we were talking about earlier before he got here.
Yeah, that's great. It's so funny that we were talking about it, and then Gabe came on and said the exact same thing. Yeah, there's no editing. Yeah, Gabe, we were talking about how if you're just doing words, you can label over that. If you're doing a picture, you can filter it, whatever. You can crop it. You can make sure it's perfect. Even if you're putting up a video, you can edit it. You can decide what parts, right? You have no ums, no ahs. But on this, not only is there no edit, like I went MIA for a few minutes. Like it dropped and I went nowhere.
Yeah, you can't edit that.
There's no editing that at all.
Jacob, I'm not even going to ask what that means.
You're gonna play with me later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that's a video game.
I'm gonna assume so too. Because Jacob's in like Missouri or something. Crickets, yep.
That's hilarious.
Do you know Jacob? Are you connected to him?
Yeah, we're connected.
Okay.
And I think we got connected through some memes.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
He's a meme fool, man.
Actually, it was like one of the only meme posts I ever made, and then Jacob showed up. It was like the meme, the meme whisperer got wind of it. I posted a meme, and then we had a couple exchanges. Yeah. He brings some good levity to the community.
Yeah, he does, man. I love him. He doesn't hardly get on camera very much. Every once in a while, he'll show up like on Zoom, or we have those Zoom parties on Tuesdays. Every once in a while, he'll show up. But he posts some music stuff. Like Bro can sing, man. He can sing and play the guitar.
Yes. Yeah, there was some really heartfelt thing a couple months ago.
Yeah, whenever he had lost 3 people in the span of like just a couple days. That was a beautiful, beautiful. I went back and watched it about a week later just because it was so amazing.
Yeah, well, it's from the heart. Back to the no editing thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't fake that. If there's that kind of raw emotion, because 3 people you know and love have passed away, and you've decided that you're going to process that and you're going to honor them through music, like there's no faking that. That's the real goods.
And then you're going to post that on the internet for the world to see. Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I talk sometimes too about how like vanity metrics, likes and comments really don't matter. And it's more about the community and about the relationships and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of vanity metrics though, the thing that I had that had the absolute most views, most comments, most engagements is me ugly crying. Like camera is wonky like this. I'm sobbing and I'm talking about suicide. Because I just gotten off a call with a client who was sharing some pretty dark and things that they were struggling with. And I shared with them some of my, some of the things that I've experienced, and they thanked me profusely. And they said, made them feel understood. And that not only that I sympathize, but I really empathize. And I've had too many people in my life take their own life. I know too many men who've killed themselves. And I've been saying to myself for a while that like, I'm going to talk about this publicly. I'm going to talk about this. I really talking about ending the stigma. There's another kind of stigma that needs to be ended, like talking about mental health, talking about those challenges. And I never had the guts, and I thought about it, and then I like draft some posts, and then I didn't do it. But then in that moment, like I didn't think about it, didn't edit. Like I don't even know. I just my beard is scratched. That wasn't like sobby. There's like snot and I'm just like whatever stream of consciousness. Hit publish, and then I was like, I don't know if I'll regret that later. Like 20, 25, 28,000 views, kind of thing.
Wow.
And hundreds and hundreds of comments and posts and that stuff. Cool, whatever. But it's the messages. It's the individual messages. People saying like, thank you so much. This really means a lot. I've been struggling too. I lost my brother. I know I've struggled with this, but I've never spoken about this. You don't know how much me. Like I got dozens of those kinds of messages from people because they don't feel comfortable talking about it.
And it was your realness and willing to put yourself out there, ugly crying, because it was a message worth doing that for.
Yep, it was totally worth doing it for. Yeah.
And people relate to that. Like real recognizes real, but also, if somebody's going to put themselves out there like that, it's going to speak to somebody. Like it's even the people the haters or whatever, like you can't help but look at that and go, okay, this dude is for real on this.
Yep. Exactly. You say whatever you want about other stuff, but yeah, it's scary sharing those. It's not difficult, but I worry about being accused of seeking attention. Yeah, I think that's the thing I think that holds a lot of people back too, Jacob. And I think that's the difference for me. It's intent. And if someone is posting that kind of stuff on a regular basis, kind of ongoing basis, it seems to be that they're just fishing for attention. But I think you're a perfect example of this, Jacob. We were joking, or you're known for like memes and jokes and all this kind of stuff. But then you showed up there with this real from the heart. Here's music. I've lost 3 friends. There's no one in their right mind is going to say that's for attention. Or if anyone did, your thousands of friends on here would gather around and boot kick them plenty of times for you. But I think the intention makes a really big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Loopy again.
Thanks, Loopy. Loopy's giving us lots of love.
Yeah, she's awesome. That's kind of like you said, the intention of it. Like I'm going through a divorce right now, and I have not posted anything about it just because there's no need to. But I have talked to a lot of my network, like in the DMs or text messages or whatever, and just the overwhelming support. And I know it'll eventually come out in a post, but I haven't done it yet just because like I've felt like Jacob, like, you know, emotional topics are going to be hot anyway. Like it's going to get a lot of views. It's going to get a lot of engagement because people recognize that. But I've also not wanted to, and it's like, this is the first time I've talked about it on LinkedIn. I haven't wanted to for people to think, well, he's just putting that out there for attention. So that's a real thing, Jacob. So I feel you on that 100%, man.
There's the real. Wow. Jacob, you realize the realness you've brought to this podcast by showing up?
I know, man.
He showed up in the comments. We were commending him for the realness on that. So I shared a story of me ugly crying, and then Jacob comments back, and now it's got you sharing something that you've never shared previously. And then thank you for saying that. I think that's the thing too, is because look, divorce is tough. It's painful. And then you feel like a failure, and it's screwing with your identity. And then there's like some shame around it. And then women attempt suicide more than men. Men kill themselves at a rate of 2 to 4 times as much as women because they tend to take more lethal methods. And it's because we don't get, I think Bill Burr has a joke about it. It's like, since we're kids, we can't even say that the goddamn puppy's cute, or else we're going to get called, a pansy. And we can't even say that the goddamn puppy's cute, let alone to say like, hey, I'm having a tough go right now because I'm going through a divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just real. It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. And just to be vulnerable, like just to kind of put it all out there, like I had one of those ugly crying moments last night. I finally went through yesterday and started deleting pictures off my phone. And this has been going on for a few months. And then I ran across our wedding video, which was done by a videographer. So it was professionally done. It was on my phone. And I sat in my chair and just flat out sobbed. Like you said, snot slinging, going everywhere. So I thought I was past it all, and then something triggered it. You know what I mean? But the thing is, and I shouldn't have watched it, but I had to. I felt like, because that video always made me cry before, good tears. You know what I mean? And so I ran across it, and it was just a kick in the nuts. You know, because it was so emotional for me before in such a good way. So,
damn, there's the realness.
That's the realness, y'all. It's
That's
out there on
the realness
LinkedIn
right
now.
there. I promise you, there's a lurk out there. Yes, that's Jacob. Stick out there. I just got goosebumps, Jacob. I really just got goosebumps.
I may do that tomorrow, Jacob. My posts this week have all been promoting lives because the one after this one will be my third one this week. I haven't done a regular post, but I may do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I honestly, and I think, look, you're going to write it what feels right to you. But if part of you feels that it's okay to include the fact that you were hesitant to talk about it because you didn't want people to think like, oh, this or all that, like, because I think that will help with the stigma and the shame and the fear. Because thankfully you've got friends that you can DM and talk about. But we know, like Jacob said, there's someone out there who's watching, a lurker, who doesn't even feel comfortable talking to their friends in the DM, and they're having those ugly cries alone.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's been just over, which I've got, in real life friends too that have helped me. But just the overwhelming support of probably 10 or 12 different people I've met on LinkedIn that have been there for me through this whole time. Who'd have thought that I would have made really real, true friendships here, which is like going back to what we talked about earlier. That's why I don't post controversial shit, because I like it here.
You want to keep your membership card for a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I can relate, because the darkest period of my life where I almost took my life, I was dealing with the walking away from my music career and dealing with my divorce at the same time. And I was just like, damn, all right, so I have to change careers. I failed in marriage. That means in my mind, I've also failed as a parent. Everything's gone to shit, and that it literally brought me to the darkest point of my life.
Yeah. Thanks, Jacob.
What do you say? Their lives are, what do you say? The fun and glad and stream like crazy. Yeah. Well, I think you attract good people, and you talk about stuff that other people don't even talk about, even with your stigma stuff. So, and I think you like the people we're talking, like the people who are all in your bubble and your friends group. They're all people who give a shit. They're all people that have live interesting lives. That
Exactly. Hi, Dana. Dana's another one that's a huge community builder, and she is a fierce advocate for, let's just take this offline. Like, let's have a phone conversation. Like, whenever I talked to her a few weeks ago, it was, she doesn't like being on camera anyway, but she was like, let's just do it old school. Like, call me on the phone. Let's not do a Zoom. And she's amazing. She's all about building community. You know Dana? Do you know Dana?
I don't know. I don't think we're connected with Dana. I just making a note. I want to follow. What's her last name? Fellows? Is that
Fellows? Yep. She's awesome.
Done. I'm gonna seek her out when we're done the live.
Yep, she's absolutely amazing. Well, Rob, we have hit an hour, and I'm gonna go grab a bite to eat before I get back on here in a minute. So
wonderful.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, dude. I enjoyed this conversation. This was awesome.
Me too. I really loved it. I loved how we talked about everything from the power of the community to the real stuff, ugly, crying. Some awesome people showed up in the comments, and we laughed a bit. I got goosebumps one.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a hell of an endorsement. That just makes me want to more.
I know, right?
That's hilarious, Jacob.
Thanks, Dana. Love you. Rob, man, I appreciate it, dude. This was awesome. This was an amazing conversation. All the topics, all the laughs, everybody in the comments, man. I appreciate it. I needed this.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being real. Thank you for people that showed up, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. We'll see y'all next time. Oh, let me plug next week. Hang on. Who do I have next week? Next week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central, I have Amy Olseth, holistic interventionist. And I'm going to butcher her last name. I know I am. On Wednesday at 7 Central, I've got 𝙏𝙝𝙞 𝙇𝙄𝙑𝙀, I think is how you pronounce it. Mm-hmm. She does like healing from toxic relationships. She helps people heal from toxic relationships. Both of them amazing women. So y'all be sure to put that on your calendars. 7 o'clock Central, Ending the Stigma with Nathan and DJ. And that's it.
Beautiful.
Cool, man.
All right.
Rob, appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, Chris. You too.
Bye.